Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us, joining us today in this session on AI's roadmap for global prosperity. So I'm with Kanu
Hi.
and Daniela. Thanks for being here.
Very excited to be here. Thank you.
So I want to start with a question about the European Union's proposed AI Act that we are discussing a lot now these days. So it is a landmark legislation. I think it will be the first comprehensive regulatory regime attempting to regulate AI's development, deployment, and applications around a risk-based approach. So many people think that it's a great step to regulate AI, but also many from the industry think that it may harm and it will harm the AI innovation. I want to get your take on this. What do you think about this proposed EU Act, which is still draft today?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Thank you for bringing it up. This is a tough topic. This is no clear, white and black answer. It is important that we talk about transparency and fairness and just overall regulation. But, I'm in the camp that it is too early to decide and make those laws rigid today. To impact startups and innovation at this earlier stage and have them being responsible for any open source projects, I feel like it's just too early to stifle all the innovation and progress that we can see. There are countries out there where this regulation is not going to happen and they're going to see this continued step in progress in AI, and we, with the Western society, don't want to be left behind. So I think it's too early to try to have such tight laws. So it's going to be a long time before we realize, what is the right definition of fairness and transparency. And even if there is risk involved, I think this is too early to make those kind of regulations today.
Daniela?
I think the EU AI Act is deepening the gap between the United States and Europe in the development of AI. While the US is pouring billions of money in AI development and building, the EU is regulating it and putting a big a gap between the access to development in Europe, which already has a lot less investment, a lot less resources, and on top of it, it has more legislation. Until it's a cross-nation initiative or a global initiative, it is actually worsening the gap.
Yeah. So you, Daniela, you recently joined Accelerate AI, a consortium of Portuguese companies to speed up the digital transformation of a country, of Portugal, and private sectors. So how has this been going so far, and how do you see AI helping lift the country to economic prosperity from that specific experience?
Well, we're thrilled to, this is the year where we're introducing a new product line and a new project for digital transformation of the country, supported by the Portuguese government and a consortium of talent here as well. We lead the consortium at Define AI, but it's a group of people, a group of very talented experts. We are bringing conversational AI to automation of customer service, customer support. And this is not just an enterprise play. It's any public service, anyone who has a customer to speak to needs conversational AI to have a frictionless experience, a 24/7 support, and a guaranteed ROI that takes you to 80% of answered queries in the top queries, which in level one, in the level one requests. So this is big. On top of it, Portugal is number 49 in the GDP ranking of the world. The big 5 tech companies, which have access to lots of resources, can really get to the top 15 because this is expensive technology it's expensive technology, data-wise and everything else. Our approach will bring a smart, small data, from big data to small data approach that allows us to get to low resource languages in a much more efficient way, like European Portuguese.
Yeah, we all say that AI will help us a lot to progress towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that we all know, like to the list of the world now, all the countries, or especially on economic growth, climate action, innovation, or affordable energy. But also, doesn't it pose some risks and threats for other goals indicated in UN Sustainable Development Goals, such as inequalities, discrimination, poverty, or hunger even? What do you think about this, especially in developing countries? Kanu, to start with you.
Yeah, happy to. The UN goals are obviously, they're very well, the attempt is obviously very well thought through, but they still need to be framed better. I actually don't think this is at odds with the advancements that's happening in AI. I think the personalization that can happen because of AI in education, or because of customer support, or in supply chain, or in healthcare, will just actually advance across all of those goals. You mentioned inequality and bias. I think biases are essentially a very human trait as well. And in fact, we can't measure our bias. If on the model, in fact, there's a quantifiable way to measure how biased an algorithm or an AI model is. So if anything, I think, this is not at odds with the UN's goals, the advancement in AI. So, but I'm happy to hear Daniela's thoughts here.
I think in the beginning, as a matter of fact, in the context of global prosperity, we should learn from the Industrial Revolution that actually took a while to bring it, because if you go into a deeper scale or a global scale, AI brings automation and brings people augmentation, and a lot of the developing countries and third world countries, which are basically their living is on these more repetitive, less skilled types of jobs, less education needed jobs. So when you bring AI to automate that, which is usually what AI does in the first instance, it's actually not a good thing unless you can control policies within the same country, that you can move resources from one place to the next. We're not moving resources in the same country, we're moving resources globally, which is a different situation. But in the long run, oh my gosh, it's going to be, it's something like Kanu said, healthcare, access to having people in poor villages with augmenting doctors that otherwise could not be there, assisted by AI, getting education, getting to, again, places that you could never be able to access that type of level of content if it's not through internet and AI and teaching you in a training way. So in the long run, it's going to be good.
Yeah. I guess it will be so difficult for countries, especially developing countries, whose economic model is exclusively based on cheap labor first at the beginning. And we shouldn't forget that Industrial Revolution countries started profiting from this revolution by the beginning of 19th century. Until then, it was quite difficult. So regarding the workforce, so AI is not only transforming jobs or work with repetitive labor, manual labor, but also creative space now, creative industries. The AI-generated imagery that you work on, Kanu, is one of them, drawing massive attention and interest over last months. So with application like DALL-E 2 or Midjourney, for example, using generative AI, you can create unique, super realistic images in response to a filled text. You said AI-based imagery is quite world-changing. I read in an article. So can you please elaborate on this? Especially, how would you answer those that feel technology should not overtake human-centered creativity in the world of art making, for example?
Yeah, no, thank you for the question. I think there's this new class of AI models. These are different than the previous generation of just classifiers, where we were classifying whether an image is of a dog or a cat, or from predictive models, which were saying, okay, hey, what's your next customer churn going to look like? They're not just predicting or classifying, they're actually creating content in language or images or video from scratch. So there's a lot of advancements and happening at a really fast pace now. So it's very exciting development. But yes, I think as society we will be questioning what is art and what is creativity, and no reason that an AI-created art is not just more popular or actually wins competitions now. In terms of applications, I'd go on and venture and say that next AI, the next Figma or the next Adobe is going to be an AI-based solution largely. But what we really need to solve for is how is this interaction between the human and the AI happen? What does that interface look like? What does the next generation interface look like? That needs to be solved still. But I think the generative AI is one of the most exciting advancements in AI that's happened in the last year or so, and I see a lot of potential for multiple industries there. Yes.
I didn't hear your question. I can't hear from here.
Yeah, but I have a question for you about your experience. So
Okay.
you mentioned US case. You are appointed to Biden's Artificial Intelligence Task Force, which is working with the objective to write a roadmap to democratize to educational tools that will promote AI innovation and fuel economic prosperity. I think it's 1 year ago now. So can you share your insights on how this has been going, and maybe like key learnings that can be shared by others trying to drive prosperity within their own communities or countries?
So the NAIR, the National Artificial Intelligence Task Force, has the goal of creating the framework for access, democratic access within civil rights and civil liberties to AI resources and tools and models, precisely because of the acknowledgement that there is a big gap between data and AI development in the hand of a few and the rest of the world, in the United States. This is a U.S. initiative. This is U.S. only. So, which is again brings me to the fact that whenever you're applying AI or anything at the country level, you can move resources from one place to another. If you are working in a global scale, it's much more difficult. So we are finally at 1.5 year mark. It's ending in December. This task force recommendations. We are presenting 80+ pages of reports to the White House, to the President Biden, and what's next is really creating. We're creating an organization within probably one of the agencies of the U.S. that is going to rule to rule these next 5 years. There will be funding, there will be RFPs, there will be steering committees that bring all the aspects of society, but really there will be regulations and recommendations. And there will be incentives to share more data, including from those guys that have a lot more resources, like the big 5 tech companies. And so the idea is to level the play within all the organizations, all the R&D organizations in the US, which is not academia only, it's also industry.
Yeah, so we have 5 minutes, and I think we have so many founders in the audience, so I want to finish with this question about trends and opportunities. What are the innovations that in AI the world needs most right now, like opportunities for innovation that founders in our audience should think about in coming years? Can you? And then.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in applications that are leveraging recent advances in AI, focused on language models more recently, so large language models, dialogue systems. I think we are on the precipice of language as humans. We can, as AI the applications and advancements in language is improving, I think there'll be many, many applications. Some of them we haven't even seen, thought about, started yet. But there's a lot of room for advancements in this language base. So conversational AI is one of those. But there is also lots of applications with generative AI. We talked about the images, video content areas there. I also think there's a lot of applications in robotics now that's increasingly applying deep learning and AI and combined with other more classical robotic techniques and computer vision-based approaches, so just automation in general. Yeah, happy to chat with anybody here who's now building something new with applications in AI.
And you have a session this afternoon about the DALL-E 2.
On generative AI,
yeah,
yes.
if you're interested.
Yes.
It's quite fascinating what you're doing. And you?
Well, a couple of things. Well, I'm a long-term big fan of virtual agents and avatars and the multimodal aspect of that. I've been in this field for 22 years. It's all I've been working on all these years. And we are now there. We can now, we're still, the technologies are coming together between the animation and vision and lip sync and speech technology, natural language processing. They're starting to come together. But imagine once you actually nail this avatar situation, this avatar application, and you deploy it into cloning yourself in events like this, in multiplying content in any 24/7 that you with interaction. This is the most important, not static content. This is AI in the future is going to bring that interactivity that right now content is unilateral. You receive it and you don't respond to it. And of course, within the technology development of AI, what I think it's exploding is the synthetic data as aspect of things, where you can now train language models and acoustic models and computer vision models and really a lot of other models with augmented synthetic data. So this is more technical part, but it's very exciting because it allows us to scale up to scenarios that we've never seen and fill the gaps.
Yeah, we are going through a deep economic crisis with inflation, recession, and everyone is trying to track better, control spendings, automatize almost everywhere in our life or at work or like in professional level. So do you think this economic crisis is increasing the need and demand for AI-led tools? Or because when we look at the market, so we see that the overall funding and investment, including venture investment, is trending down around 40%, but I think it's a market-wide thing. So, but at the same time, we see that like people are now more and more trying to use AI-generated tools. So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't think it's the demand that's gone down or the need for further advancing AI and applications in AI. Over the last few years, there was more capital in the market than we've been used to, and there was a lot more funding, and there's a little bit of correction happening. But I definitely don't think there's any reduced need or demand for AI-based applications, including robotics, manufacturing, supply chain, healthcare, education. Just every aspect of even running a country, I think needs more AI now than before.
Yeah.
I think the investment is it's a consequence of the depression, but I don't see folks being funded in AI at the moment. And I'm always watching the pitch book. It's not the case, but you are on the other side. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot more capital from even later stage investors and public market investors over the last few years, and there was a lot of artificially valuations that were floated up. So there's a correction happening, but I don't think fundamentally we have stopped investing in AI or any of these advanced technologies. In fact, we see this is the right time for very interesting companies to get created. Because like the people who are really passionate and excited about a space and a solution will actually go and venture right now. So I find it very promising.
Thank you. So we are in time. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the discussion, and thank you for sharing your insight with us.
Thanks so much, Ali.
Thank you.